Welcome again to the Purposes of God. This is Doug Krieger, your host for this final video number 30 in our presentation of the Purposes of God. This is an addendum to the original 29 videos. This is video 30 of the addendum, part 3 of the Purposes of God, on the subject of the tabernacle in the wilderness, also known as the tent of meeting and the tent of the testimony. The boards of the tabernacle and the wall of the New Jerusalem. In Exodus chapter 26, 15 through 25, we read how the boards of the tabernacle and the wilderness were constructed and their dimensions. There were 20 each on the north and south sides, or 20 times 2 sides would be equal to 40 boards. 6 plus 2 on the west side would give us 8 boards. 2 of these 8 boards are for reinforcement on the corners. The total count of the boards, therefore, is 40 plus 8 are equal to 48 boards. Now let's look at the measurement of each one of these boards. Each board was 10 cubits in length and 1.5 cubits in width, or 48 times 10 would equal 480 cubits, or 1.5 cubit width of each board times 48 is equal to 72 cubits on the top or bottom only. Now the top and the bottom combined would be, therefore, 72 times 2 would be equal to 144 cubits of the widths, the number of the New Jerusalem. The wall of the tabernacle equates to the wall of the New Jerusalem's 144, which wall of the New Jerusalem was not its necessarily width or length or depth. None of that was given. Revelation chapter 21 verse 17 simply says the wall was 144 cubits. 480 cubits, that is the total length of the 10 cubit boards, times 25.20 inches of the sacred cubit would equal to 12,096 inches. Divided by 12 inches would equal 1,008 feet. Times 2 would equal 2,016, the fractal of the moon's diameter of 2,160 miles. The boards and the Great Pyramid. 1.5 cubits, top and bottom, of each of the tabernacle's 48 boards are equal to 1.5 cubits plus 1.5 cubits, that is, the top and the bottom. The widths of the board is equal to a total of 3 cubits. Now, 3 cubits times the 48 boards of the tabernacle in the wilderness are equal to 144 linear cubits, the number of the New Jerusalem, times 25.20 inch of the sacred cubit is equal to 36,288 linear inches, or the Great Pyramid of Giza's 256 linear feet, that is, one side of the Great Pyramid of Giza, times 4 of its sides would equal 3,024 linear feet, that is, the perimeter of the Great Pyramid of Giza, times 12 inches is equal to 36,288 linear inches, precisely the measurements of the widths of the 48 boards, 3.0 cubit width, top and bottom. The measurement of the New Jerusalem, the tabernacle in the wilderness, and the body of Messiah. We take the square area of both sides of the tabernacle's boards. 1.5 cubits is the width of the board, times 10 cubits, which is the length of each board, is equal to 15 square cubits, that is 1.5 cubits times 10 cubits. Now, times 2, because we're considering the inside and the outside of the boards, will equal 30 square cubits per board, times the 48 boards is equal to 1,440 square cubits, or the 144, the measurement of the New Jerusalem. Again, the thickness of the boards is not given, the width and the height only. There are 96 tenons, or literally hands, dowels, that are joining the boards to each other, board to board, side to side. The 100 silver sockets are grounding them, 2 to each board. 2 times 48 equals 96, plus the 4 sockets upholding the 4 pillars for the veil to the holiest of all. This is found in Exodus 26 verse 32, will equal, that is 96 plus 4, will equal 100 sockets of silver. The 100 sockets of silver times 1,440 square cubit area of the inside and outside of the boards equals 144,000, the 144,000 of the New Jerusalem. Silver represents redemption. The 144,000. These are redeemed from among men, from the earth. Revelation chapter 14, verses 3 and 4. The 96 tenons, the whole building being fitted together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord, built together for a dwelling place of God in the Spirit. The whole body fitly joined together by what every joint supplies. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 21, and Ephesians chapter 4, verse 16. The 15 crossbars and the middle bar. And you shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards on the side of the tabernacle for the far side westward. The middle bar shall pass through the midst of the boards from end to end. This is all found in Exodus chapter 26, verses 26 through 28. The bars were horizontally installed and fitted through golden ring holders. The bar length is unknown, yet there are 5 bars, but the middle bar shall pass through the midst of the boards from end to end, indicating that we do know its length. This is found in Exodus 26, verse 28. Thus, we are held together by 5 responsibility, that is the number 5. But the hidden bar in the middle is unseen, and yet strategically positioned for strength. The bars are overlaid with gold. 69 and 144 equal Messiah the Prince and the New Jerusalem. If the middle bar shall pass through the midst of the boards from end to end, and there are 46 external boards in the tabernacle in the wilderness, times 1.5 cubits the width of any given board, that number will equal to 69 cubits, that is 46 times 1.5. There is but one 69 in Scripture with potent prophetic meaning. Daniel chapter 9, verses 25 and 26 speaks of the 7 weeks and the 62 weeks added together. 7 plus 62 is equal to 69 weeks until Messiah the Prince. 69 cubits times 25.20 inches of the sacred cubit are equal to 1,730 linear inches, divided by 12 inches will equal 144 linear feet. The 144, the number of the New Jerusalem. The central truth of the bands of the bars, which hold the boards together, is the purpose of God that Messiah, 69, has united us together to be the New Jerusalem, 144. The garland of stars above her head. the 12 constellations of the zodiac, spiritual warfare. The Sumerians gave birth to the pantheon of the gods. They knew the measurement of a sphere's radius, hence the diameter and circumference can be determined by one side of a six-sided polygon or hexagon. The great precessional circuit of the zodiac is 25,920 years in length, and 1/6 of that cycle of 25,920 years is equal to 4,320 years. 6 is man's number, or the number for Earth. 1 degree of the precessional is equal to 72 years, and 2 degrees, that is 2 for witness, and also 72 is multiplied by 1.5 on either side of the 48 boards, is equal to 144. That is, 2 degrees of the great precessional is equal to 144 years, the number of the New Jerusalem's witness, the 2 sets of 72. And 1/6 of the precessional is equal to 60 degrees, or 360 degrees, that is, divided by 6, 1/6, will equal 60. 60 sets, if you would, of 72, or 60 times 25.20, however, will equal 1512, the number of apocalypsis in gematria of the Greek word apocalypsis. So what we have in view here is the end of days as seen in the heavens, and the witness of the New Jerusalem attesting thereto. Now the graphic that you see here, if a hexagon is placed inside of it, lines CE, as far as one of its even lines within that hexagon, in that polygon, is equal to OB, the radius of the circle, and hence the diameter, and therefore we can calculate, if we have pi, the circumference of that circle. However, if the hexagon is placed on the outside of the circle, we may also be able to calculate the circumference of that circle, as was proven by the 1/6 of the 25,920 great precessional circuit of the zodiac. 60 degrees, that is 1/6 of the precessional circuit, times 72 is equal to 4,320 years, divided by 2, the witness to the heavens, by the 2 degrees of 72, that is the 1.5 cubit widths of either side of the 48 boards of the tabernacle, or 1.5 cubits times 48 boards of the tabernacle in the wilderness, is equal to 72 cubits times 2, that is, its top and bottom of each board, is equal to 144 cubits. That is, 72 plus 72 is equal to 144, or Israel and the church, the New Jerusalem, is equal to 2,160, or again, 4,320 years divided by 2 will equal 2,160, or the number of miles which constitute the diameter of the moon, which is the reflection of the sun upon her. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. Matthew chapter 24, verse 21. 1/6 of the 300 cubit length of the tabernacle in the wilderness is equal to 50 cubits, or 300 cubits divided by 6, that is 1/6, is equal to 50 cubits. times the sacred cubit measurement of 25.20 inches is equal to 1,260 linear inches, or 1,260 inches is 1/2 of a sacred cubit as a fractal of 2520, and is 1/2 of the second half of Daniel's 70th week in days. That is, 1,260 days is equal to 3.5 years, is equal to 3.5 days, to time times, and half a time, or 42 months, the great tribulation period of the latter days. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers in heavenly places. The woman, the Lamb's bride, is prepared for spiritual conflict for the 1,260 days of the latter half of the Great Tribulation, which is to try the whole earth, for the 4,320 years of the Great Processional, that is, its 1/6, divided by the two witnesses, equals 2,160, the diameter of the moon in miles, beneath her feet. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God, Israel, and have the testimony of Jesus, the church. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 17. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 6. Yes, the tabernacle in the wilderness, and the tabernacle and its witness of the wilderness prepared by God for the woman of Revelation chapter 12. The nautical mile and the principalities and powers, part 1. There are 1.15 statute miles in a nautical mile, or 1.15 times 5,280 feet, which are in a statute mile, will equal 6,072 linear feet in a nautical mile. The Earth's circumference is 21,600 nautical miles. Note, 2160 is the fractal of 21,600 and is the moon's diameter in miles, or 2160 divided by 2 as the number of witnesses to the earth will equal 1,080, that is half the moon's diameter or the moon's radius. Therefore, 1,080 plus 1,080 are equal to 2,160, the moon beneath her feet. Now, 21,600 divided by 360 degrees, the circle of the earth, is equal to 60 nautical miles per degree, which represents the Son of Man's generations, that is, from Adam to Jesus, is equal to 60 generations. Facing both the Old Testament saints, 1 degree or 60 nautical miles, and the New Testament saints, that is, 1 degree or 60 nautical miles, will equal 2 degrees, 2 witnesses, times 60 nautical miles will equal 120 nautical miles on the earth. As there are 2 witnesses to the earth, 120 or 60 plus 60, even so there are 2 witnesses to the heavens expressed in the 2 sets of 72, or 2 times 72 is equal to 144, the number of the New Jerusalem. And I will give authority to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands, standing before the God of the earth. Revelation chapter 11, verses 3 and 4. The nautical mile and the principalities and powers, Part 2. The nautical mile is equal to 6,072 linear feet, divided by 25.20 inches of the sacred cubit is equal to 240. Now note, we are using the 25.20 as a fractal only here. And the 240, a fractal thereof, is 24. 24 is equal to the 12 patriarchs of Israel and the 12 apostles of the Lamb, the church, or 12 plus 12 is equal to 24. 6 is man's number, and 72, that is 1 degree in years of the great processional of the zodiac, and 1 width of the 48 boards of the tabernacles, tabernacle in the wilderness, times 1.5 cubits wide is equal to 72. Man is chosen to testify to the heavens. This is equal to 2 degrees of the great processional circuit or circle, which is equal to 2 sets of 72 years, or 72 plus 72, both ends of the boards of the tabernacle in the wilderness in their widths, is equal to 144 years, or 144 of the New Jerusalem. Part 3 of the nautical mile and the principalities and powers. 2 degrees of the Earth's circumference is equal to 120 nautical miles, or 21,600 nautical miles is the circumference of the Earth, divided by 360 degrees of a circle is equal to 60 nautical miles, or 1 degree of the Earth's circumference is times 2, that is 2 degrees of the Earth's circumference, is equal to 120 nautical miles. 144 years, that is 72 plus 72 to the heavens, is equal to 2 degrees to the heavens, minus 120 miles, if you would, 60 plus 60 to the earth, that is 2 degrees of the Earth's circumference, is equal to 24. Again, 144 years minus 120 miles is equal to 24. 24 elders times 60, Jesus' generation, is equal to 144, the number of the New Jerusalem. The difference between the heavens and the earth affirm that both heaven and earth are designed for the New Jerusalem. That is, 24 times 25.20 inches of the sacred cubit is equal to 6,048 linear inches, divided by 2 is equal to 3,024 linear inches, or the fractal of 3,024 linear feet. The perimeter of the Great Pyramid of Giza times 12 inches is equal to 32,288 linear inches, divided by 25.20 inches of the sacred cubit will give us 1,440 cubits, or its fractal of 144, the number of the New Jerusalem. This is part 4 of the nautical mile of the principalities and powers, and also our final slide in part 3 of video 30 on our addendum to the purposes of God. 24 that we've been using as the 24 as the difference between the heavens and the earth, as well as the 24 elders, the patriarchs 12, and the apostles of the Lamb 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. Times 72 is equal to 1728. And 24 times 60 to the earth in degrees is equal to 1,440. Now, if we take 1728 minus 1440, we come to 288. But 288 divided by 2 is equal to 144. Therefore, 72 and 60 interacting with Israel and the church, that is, to the heavens and to the earth, will produce 288. Divided by the two witnesses will equal 144. Indeed, the number of the New Jerusalem, seen even in the difference between the 72 and the 60. 72, the number of years in 1 degree of the great precessional of the zodiac, times 2, both sides of the 48 board by 1.5 cubit boards width of the tabernacle in the wilderness will equal 144. That is 72 plus 72, both the top and the bottom. The number of the New Jerusalem. 2 degrees to the heavens, or 2 times 72 years, will equal 144 years, and 2 degrees to the earth, that is 60 plus 60, will equal 120 miles, or 2 sets of 60 miles, or 60 times 25.20, used as a fractal only, will equal 1,512. That is the number of apocalypsis in the gematria of the Greek for the word apocalypsis, the prophetic end of days. 2 sides, 1.5, 1.2 feet of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and 2 sets of 60, the Old Testament and the New Testament, are equal to 120. That is 1512 feet times 25.20 is equal to 3,024 linear feet, or the perimeter of the Great Pyramid of Giza, times 12 inches in inches is equal to 36,288 inches, divided by the 25.20 inch sacred cubit will equal to 1,440 cubits, or the 144 of the New Jerusalem. The purposes of God are altogether absolutely clear. This concludes part 3 again of the addendum to the video number 30 of our special series on the purposes of God. And now we move on to part 4 of the addendum of video number 30 on the purposes of God.